Hey, what's going on, folks? This is Demond K. Ross, habit finder, coach, and speaker. I'm going to talk a little bit about anger today. Anger is one of the many emotions that we all have, and it seems to be running really high right about now, because anger is really the strong emotion towards something that has become severely annoying to us. And there's a lot of people who are getting very annoyed with other people. Now, that annoyance, or should I say that anger that we have, is really tied to the fight, flight, or freeze mechanism that we all have. And of course, it's directly linked to fight. Now, when we talk about anger and we talk about fighting with the anger, it doesn't necessarily always mean something physically aggressive or harming towards other people. It could be just developing that anger and that desire to fight for injustice, or to fight for the lives of those who can't fight for themselves. And we see a lot of that going on, and that's a great usage of our anger. But where we have to really be careful is allowing that anger to turn into something that's destructive. Because when we allow anger to exist on a prolonged level for too much of our time, and that stress hormone is released that is associated with anger, it can start to do some things to us physically. And one of the things that it can do is start to weaken our immune system, especially in this time right now that we're living in. You know, we all need to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves physically, and that our immune systems are strong and kicking to fight off in the event that you may come in contact with COVID-19. But the other thing that it does to us physically is that it starts to erode and wear on the neurons in our brain, and it goes directly to the part that impacts our judgment. And that's an area that I think a lot of people struggle with because of all of the anger that is going on. When we get into an angered space, we're not operating at our highest level. And so it tends to cause us to look at things from a point of view that may not necessarily be accurate. We may not necessarily see things the way that they are, but we see things the way we want them to be, or we expect them to be. And when it doesn't show up like that, we become angry. And that anger can turn into, danger. It can put us in a really dangerous spot, because we start to lose relationships, we start to lose connections with people, and that could lead in some instances to violence or even self-harm in some cases. We really want to be careful with our anger and where we are with that. And the way to combat that is to really make sure you take the time to do your wellness checks, seeing how you're feeling, figuring out what the triggers are in your lives and why they are bothering you so much, why certain things affect you in the way that they do. Because some of us may be dealing with some even deeper seated things that we aren't even aware of. So we really want to dig into that, because this anger can really be detrimental to us in the short term and in the long term in some cases. So, I would just recommend that you look into your lives, see if there's any unresolved issues that you're dealing with. See where, maybe the reactions to some of the annoyances are a little bit more than where they probably should be or could be. Because again, we just want to make sure that we don't allow anger and these annoyances to boil over to a place where it's really starting to destroy our quality of life, the quality of our relationships, or even leading us to do things and say things that we'll later regret. So keep all those things in mind, and if you need to reach out for me for any reason, please do so. I'd love to get back and connect with you. And as I always say, keep striving, stay humble, and always believe in you.